Today, we're diving deep into thought cycles, and I'm going to explain to you how your mind might be working against you, what you can do to help your mind work with you toward achieving your goals, and how you can unlock your full potential right now. Stick with me. So, I mentioned earlier about thought cycles. Thought cycles are a theory that can be found in cognitive behavioral therapy. And here's what the theory talks about. The theory believes that there's a thought that leads to a feeling, and then that feeling leads to a behavior. You might also find, if you were looking this up on Google, you could Google thought cycle. You could also look for cognitive triangle. So it might look like a triangle, might look like a circle in the examples, okay? So here we go. Thought cycle is what I'm using. There is a thought. That thought produces a feeling. That feeling produces a behavior. When you have three things that are working with you, it becomes stronger. So if we use those three things, thoughts, feelings, and behaviors positively, we stand a better chance of getting you towards success. Likewise, if we use those three things together, thoughts, feelings, behaviors, negatively, then that is really putting more weight on the possibility of you getting outcomes you don't want. So I want you to learn how to use those three things, thoughts, feelings, behaviors, for your goals and for your success. I'm going to give you some examples. As a matter of fact, have I ever told you how I almost didn't graduate college? Let me tell you how my thoughts were working against me. Senior year, I still needed to take a 100 level speech class. I didn't want to take it. And here I am, a senior, sitting up here with these freshmen in a 100 level speaking class. I had put it off and delayed it as long as I could, thinking that, hey, I don't want to be in front of these people. I don't want to know what these people are thinking about me. Public speaking is hard. I am afraid. Matter of fact, public speaking is one of the top phobias that people really have. So, I'm human just like everybody else. I didn't want to do it. Finally, my counselor says, Liz, you're going to have to take this class. It's a requirement. You've got to take it. So I enrolled. And when I enrolled, I had this thought of this is going to go terribly. You don't want to do this. Whatever you can do, get out of it. Is there some sort of illness you can fake? Is there anything? There was nothing. Then I decided, you know what? I am going to prepare myself. I am going to get ready. I am not going to allow this class to keep me from getting my degree. So I'm going to do what it takes. And if I prepare, it's going to be okay. So I want you to see the thought cycle that kept me away from that class for 3 years. The first thought was, this is going to be embarrassing. I'm going to mess up. I'm going to speak in front of people and it's going to be terrible. Then the feeling is of fear and anxiety and worry. And then the behavior is I keep delaying that class semester after semester after semester. On the other side, what I started to do was, hey, I can handle it. I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to knuckle down and I'm going to study and prepare for it. And it's going to be okay. I couldn't say I'm going to do great, but I could say it's going to be okay. And most of all, I had to say, I will not allow this class to stand between me and my degree. Then the feeling is hopefulness. The feeling is encouragement. And the behavior was I started going to this thing called the speech lab, where you could actually go and meet with a speech professor and they would go over your speech with you and you could practice it and they would record you, all these things. And so my confidence really did start to get much better. The very first speech, I got the highest score in the class. When I finished that class, one of the top 3 to finish the class. Every single one, I think my lowest score might have been like an 89% or something like that. And so those are 2 examples of how your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors can work with you or against you. And like I said, I'm human just like you. So I can't say that I never go through anything, because I do. And that's why I'm sharing these things with you. All right, so here's what you want to know. You'll want to know when you start to feel your mood decline or your anxiety go lower or your anxiety go higher, that will mean that you're having some thoughts that are not working with you. Let's look at another scenario. Let's say that you are socially withdrawing because you've had this thought that says, people don't really like me. People don't really want to be around me. And so what you do then is you start to feel sadness. And then the behavior after that is you start to decline invitations. Guess what happens then? As you decline invitations, you have this other thought. See, I told you nobody wanted to be around me. You're still feeling this sadness. You're still at home by yourself. But now because you turned your friends down so many times, they actually don't call as much as they used to because they're saying, well, you know she's not coming. You know he's not coming. And then it starts to be almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So if you want to change it, you got to say something like, I know there's someone who does want to be around me. I'll find my circle. My friends miss me when I'm not there because they keep asking me to come out. I may not stay the whole time, but I'm going to go for a little while, right? You have to kind of talk yourself through some of those hard points. If you don't, you'll have 3 things working against you in your ability to make your social support network strong. How about another example? Let's say you're going for a job interview. If you go for the job interview and you say, you know what? I know that I'm prepared for this job. I have the degrees, I have the certification, I have the work experience. Then you start to feel what? Confidence. When you feel confident, you show up saying, I know they can give me this job. I know I can do it. You speak clearly, you articulate well, like everything shows up for you in that moment. Because your confidence is where it needs to be. And so I can't guarantee you're going to get the job, but I know that the likelihood of you getting it is probably higher than it was if you thought something else. What about procrastination? Let's look at a negative one. Let's say you have several things on your to-do list, and the thought is, this is too much for me to do. I'm never going to get it done. The feeling is, I am overwhelmed. And what happens when you feel overwhelmed? You procrastinate and you avoid. Right? But that only makes it worse because when it finally builds up and you have to actually take action, then you really have feelings of stress and anxiety. And sometimes you're trying to get things done quickly, which means you're not going to like the outcomes because you don't get to spend your time and give loving care to whatever that project was. So as you can see, the ability for your mind to work with you or against you shows up in big ways and small ways all the time, and you have to decide what you want to do about it. And I'm telling you right now, if you choose to pay attention to what you're thinking, challenge thoughts that don't make sense, and learn how to replace them with something that does make sense, your outcomes are going to be much better and you're going to go from mess to success. So just like I told you, mastering your thought cycle can unlock your full potential. When I gave you that example about me and how that speech class almost deterred my college degree, I'm telling you that because look where I am now. I'm making these videos for you, but even beyond that, I have spoken in front of hundreds of people at one time, 350, 500, 700 people at one time, whether it be a keynote, whether it be a workshop, a training, a seminar, it doesn't matter. Had I never allowed myself to challenge that negative thought cycle, to move it over to something healthier so that I could get through that speech class, I might not be doing what I'm doing right now today. And I want you to be able to do what your purpose, your passion, your destiny is calling for in your life. And I don't want you to allow yourself to talk yourself out of it. So you have got to master thought cycles, and you've got to know when you've got to change those thoughts around, challenge them and replace them, and start to use something that will help you get to the real goal. Now remember, I'm trying to reach 50,000 Black people with mental health support and education by 2027. So I appreciate you for stopping with me every Wednesday, but please also like, subscribe, and share. Please every week share this video with somebody new, or share an old one if an old one is your favorite one. But every single week, please share a video with someone in your circle, and let's reach those people by 2027. Listen, I'll be back next week. I'll see y'all then. Love y'all. Bye.